I used to wake up every morning thinking I wasn't enough. Every day, the same voice in my head: you're not lovable. You're not worthy. You're not good enough. Today, I'll share the story of how I discovered my worth through the most unlikely person, an old woman at a bus stop. My name is Sarah, and for 28 years, I felt invisible. I walked through life like a ghost. At work, I never spoke in meetings. At parties, I stood in corners. I believed I was broken somehow, different, wrong. Every morning, I looked in the mirror and saw someone no one could love. I had friends, yes, but I was sure they didn't really know me. If they knew the real me, they would leave. So I hid. I smiled when I felt sad. I agreed when I wanted to say no. I made myself smaller and smaller until I almost disappeared. The worst part? I was so tired. Tired of pretending. Tired of feeling empty. Tired of waiting for someone to see me and tell me I was worth something. But nobody came.
Then came the worst day of my life. It was a Tuesday in November. Gray sky, cold rain. I had another fight with my boyfriend, Mark. He said I was too needy and too sensitive. He was probably right. I always needed him to tell me I was okay. I always asked, "Do you still love me?" until he got tired of answering. After our fight, I sat at the bus stop crying. I didn't care who saw me. I felt so alone, so completely unlovable. That's when she appeared. An old woman, maybe 70 years old, sat down next to me. She had kind eyes and gray hair. She looked at me for a long moment, then said something that changed everything.
You know, I used to cry at bus stops too.
I looked at her, surprised. She seemed so complete, so sure of herself.
When I was your age, I thought I needed everyone to love me, to be happy. My husband, my children, my friends, even strangers. I was like a plant that needed water from other people to live.
I wiped my tears. How did you stop?
I learned the most important lesson of my life. Want to hear it?
Of course.
I learned that I was asking the wrong question.
What do you mean?
I spent 40 years asking, "Am I lovable?" But that's not the right question. The right question is, do I love myself?
I felt something crack open inside my chest. But, what if I don't? What if I can't?
Oh, honey, loving yourself isn't about thinking you're perfect. It's about being kind to yourself when you're not.
That night, I went home and looked in the mirror again. But this time, instead of looking for reasons why I was unlovable, I tried something different. I tried to see myself like that old woman saw me, with kind eyes. I saw a young woman who was trying her best, who worked hard, who cared deeply about others, who made mistakes, yes, but who was learning, who was human. For the first time in 28 years, I spoke to myself like a friend. Sarah, you are enough. Not because you're perfect, but because you exist. You are worthy of love, especially your own love. The voice in my head that always said you're not enough grew quieter. Not silent, it still speaks sometimes, but quieter. I realized that all those years I was waiting for someone else to give me permission to feel worthy. But no one can give you that permission. Only you can. 6 months later, I ended things with Mark. Not because I was angry, but because I finally understood I couldn't love someone else properly until I learned to love myself. I still have bad days. Days when the old voice comes back. But now I know something different. I know that feeling unlovable doesn't mean I am unlovable. It just means I'm human. The old woman at the bus stop taught me that the question isn't, am I lovable? The question is, do I love myself? And some days the answer is yes. Some days it's, I'm learning to. And some days it's just, not today, but maybe tomorrow. All of those answers are enough.